At the same time, I kept my mind open here. There is a world outside of risk analytics and Capital One, and I want to keep on kind of hearing and exploring what that means and how is that a good fit for me. And like then you do some trial and figure out, yeah, there is something that I like better than what I'm doing currently.
Understood. So that's how you ended up becoming a, CPO and marketing head of you can say India's well-known startup Snapdeal, right? So वो journey कैसा रहा? मतलब पहले but उस Snapdeal वाले phase से पहले would love to understand like वो Zoomcar वाला phase वो transition कैसे किया? मतलब from Sigma to Zoomcar like वो plan था कि नहीं यार अब बहुत हो गया corporate and structured job अब कुछ ऐसा करना है जो शायद like
हाँ.
क्या है मतलब वो कैसा कैसा था मतलब overall
So that was one interesting call that I took, right? I think after working in Musigma for close to 5 years, right, and kind of helping clients with their kind of consulting them on their analytics, organizations, right, structures, modeling, etc. Right. I felt कि यार somewhere 80% of what we do वो डेस्क प्रिंट होता है और वो मतलब किसी वीपी के टॉप शेल्फ में जाकर धूल खाता है, right? So I wanted to see what I'm doing right in action, right? And that gut feel was there कि यार uh, a startup provides you that kind of opportunity to kind of try out your ideas, and especially a consumer startup, try get that feedback loop really fast, right? So that is one thing I chase like anything, right? मैंने एक दिन one fine day I like just quit my job at Musigma, didn't have anything in hand, and those were the days कि ठीक है मतलब it used to pinch, right? When you quit your job and don't have anything in hand and kind of eating into your savings for the next 6 months. But then I met a lot of startup founders, a lot of VCs, etc., doing this whole soul searching. And that's where I realized yeah, there's something here. And that's how Zoomcar happened. I mean, one of the meetings with Greg, kind of the frequency matched. And I joined Zoomcar. And again, see, so this is something I believe in very strongly, right? Here you have to let serendipity play its role, right? Greg ने कहा आ जाओ, मैंने कहा आ जाते हैं, right? He didn't know what I will do. I didn't know what I'll do there. He just thought कि I'll be a good asset, and I thought nah, he's a fantastic founder to work with, right? तो जो था वो करते गए. फिर एक दिन ग्रेग ने कहा यार मैं प्रोडक्ट हेड हायर करना है. मैंने कहा मैं ही कर लेता हूँ आपका काम, आप प्रोडक्ट हेड क्यों हायर कर रहे हो? उसने कहा तू ही कर ले. Right, so that is how I started doing product, right? And I had a decent background in kind of e-commerce analytics, right, right, etc., all of those things. So that's how Zoomcar product happened. And then similarly I think so Rohit is a good friend who is a founder of Snapdeal, and one fine day we caught up on dinner and he was asking me about all these marketing problems that he's facing. And as I gave him a lot of gyan कि यार marketing ऐसे नहीं ऐसे करना चाहिए, like just because of my gut feeling, right, as a product manager. And he's like and I had done a lot of hiring for marketing talent in Zoomcar, right? And I told him, yeah, hire a product manager who is very smart and make it worth his while. And that is probably the best way to get like the programmatic marketing underway. It's a lot more product, lot more tech, and lot less creative, right, at scale that what you than what you might think. And then he called me up like 2 days later, ki, do you want to do it? And now I think most people would have been like यार marketing नहीं करेंगे product के बाद, right? थोड़ा सा मतलब वो there is still that casteism,
right.
right? कि यार product यहाँ है तो marketing में भी 19 है 20 तो नहीं है, right? I was like कुछ नया try करते हैं. कर लिया हम product तो tried that and enjoyed that.
But sir, like, so मतलब Zoom car you joined and उस time पे clear नहीं था कि that you will be leading the product, right?
No, not at all.
And same Snapdeal when you joined for marketing.
Yes.
So
So yes, Yes, exactly, right. So you have to, I believe कि serendipity को अपना role play करना देना बहुत जरूरी है,
हाँ,
right? तो everything you cannot kind of plan, right? You just and थोड़ा सा वो follow your passion. यार यहाँ पे तो जितने लोग हैं सब ये कर रहे हैं मेरे हिसाब से, right? That's why these guys are here, right? That's why. So I love all of you guys for the passion and enthusiasm you have, right? To be able to follow your dream. I never did that, right? To the extent you guys are doing it, right? Manas, you, and everyone in this forum, right? But still, right? So maybe it comes as a redundant ज्ञान, but I do feel कि मजा आ रहा है, ऐसा लग रहा है कि यार कुछ क्लिक करेगा तो just jump in.
it's quite good, and I think but मतलब आपने वो थॉट दिया था कि लाइक स्नैपडील में व्हेन आई जॉइन तो मतलब मैं वहां पे 7 साल ऑलमोस्ट इन्वेस्ट करूंगा, राइट, अपनी जर्नी के, एंड देन वन फाइन डे आई विल बी लीडिंग द प्रोडक्ट एज वेल एज मार्केटिंग for the biggest brand I think in e-commerce in India. Yeah.
Not at all, not at all, not at all. बिल्कुल भी नहीं, right? I mean, things happened by serendipity. I believe, I think for people who are kind of more career oriented, I believe in kind of putting my hat into the ring. Right? Right? Ki, again, same things at Snapdeal, right? Ki they were one fine day they were looking for product head. I said ki if you want to, I will do it. Right? Not that I'm expecting you. You should give it to me. But I am at least throwing my hat into the ring, right? As one of the persons you should consider, and then I think rest is history. Things happen.
And I think when we interact with a lot of people, right, तो लोगों ने अपने आप को restrict कर रखा है कि नहीं मैं ये नहीं यही करूंगा, मैं ये नहीं यही करूंगा, and I think because of थोड़ा ज्यादा Google से ज्ञान
No,
ले लिया है.
no, no, so I remember actually, right, now that you bring it up, right? So I had a very funny interview at Snapdeal with one of the folks, without naming him, and he is like, यार तुम मार्केटिंग क्यों करने आ रहे हो, तुम तो यहाँ प्रोडक्ट कर रहे हो, राइट? एंड आई वाज लाइक यार तो करने आ रहा हूँ, मतलब you should be happy like a product guy is going to, but I couldn't say it on his face. uh, but my answer to him was, यार I just like solving problems. आप मेरे को सप्लाई चेन भी दोगे तो भी आ जाऊंगा, right? Which is not a kind of which is not a rhetorical answer. I actually meant it, right? So I believe ki there super interesting problems that are there anywhere you go to be solved, and each of the functions is so critical in any company that you can use it as a pivotal point to turn around the entire company, right? Even functions like what many people will say, यार HR सिर्फ रंगोली बनाता है, it's a common joke, right? But actually feel a good human resources team can actually turn around the company on its head.
Correct. I even strongly feel कि onboarding right talent is the main, I think, job in any company, and if you have the right talent in the team, तो I think वो काफी सारी चीजें ease कर देते हैं. So
Talent, culture, everything, right? You know that Airbnb wala story though, right? So when this guy Peter Thiel wrote 100 million check or something for Airbnb, the founders asked him, okay, do you have any advice for us, any expectations from us? You're writing such a big check, you have not really said anything. So Peter Thiel tells them, just one piece of advice, don't fuck up the culture. Right? So culture is very important, yes, part of any startup, any company, right, that can have really change things on its head.
right. मेरे को पीटर थिल पता नहीं क्यों हर जगह दिखते हैं. ऐसा नहीं कि मैं ड्रॉप आउट इसलिए दिखते हैं, बट पता नहीं क्यों हर जगह दिखते हैं. कहीं ना कहीं किसी न किसी कन्वर्सेशन में पीटर थिल आ जाते हैं. और मतलब
The guy is a legend, यार.
वो अलग अलग लेवल सिस्टम रोबस्ट कर रखा है, स्पेशली पेपाल, देन टेस्ला एंड एयरबीएनबी, वो जैसी कंपनीज बिल्ड करके एंड हेल्प करके, एंड आई थिंक एक डिफरेंट लेवल ऑफ ऑरा दे दिया स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम को. मतलब एक अच्छी है. So
no,
back,
absolutely. Yes.
yeah. So back to the, I think a lot of people are asking a lot of questions, and मेरे पास ये advantage होता है as a moderator कि मैं अपने thoughts पहले clear कर लेता हूँ and then I allow others to ask their questions. But yeah, we can jump on directly on a couple of questions. So first question, as a product side, you have a very decent vast understanding, right? Starting से data and then analytics and then product वाले portion पे you were there. So a lot of founders, initial early stage founders, right, look for a very common stuff. कि product building कब start करना है, कितने पे करना है और कैसे मेंटेन करना है. So मतलब because it is not only product, it's all about even tech hiring, resource कैसे manage करना है, कितना fast move कर सकते हैं, क्या क्या pipeline build करनी है, कब actual में launch करना है, या तो time से पहले कर देते हैं या फिर time की बात कर रहे होते हैं, right? तो वो कैसे structuring कैसे करना है, especially for the early stage startups.
See, I would assume here that there is like there are two different answers, right? I would assume there is a shell of a product at least that is live, right? For any like कुछ एक app, like it may not be like the most funkiest or most feature loaded, right? Or if it is a B2B product, there is something that exists, let's say, right? And you're talking about कि यार अब इसे like how do I draw up a product roadmap, right? So one of the most so 2-3 things are important, right? First of all, I think I feel a huge amount of you have your customers for sure, right? Some of them, right? 8-10 हैं, some customer love is there, right? So talking to them and understanding what they love in your product is one of the most paramount things, right? That will give you brilliant insights, right? That have you found a hook or not, right? Number 2, go back to the drawing board, generate a lot of ideas, right? Have a very free flowing, have a few very free flowing sessions on what all is possible without interjecting anyone, I would say, right? No idea is a bad idea. There are a lot of dumb ideas, but at that stage no idea is bad, right? Number 3, now this is the most critical part, right? I feel you will have you will do all your jazz around filtering and saying कि ठीक है ये 50 में से there were some dumb ideas, some that probably kind of you will weed out some either ahead of their time ideas or bad ideas by yourself, right? But वो 10 idea में से क्या करना है now becomes like और 10, 5, 6, 8 ideas जो भी list है उसमें से क्या करना है. See, that's where a little bit of creativity comes into the picture, right? Why I say creativity is because what you want to do is at that time what I call as a POC approach to things, right? I'll explain it a little more, right? So a POC is different from an MVP. A POC is also different from a survey. Why is that the case, right?
So just POC stands for proof of concept, right?
Yes, you're right. So proof of concept करेंगे. Proof of concept. Let's say I have a jewelry rental business. ठीक है? Where I rent some sort of jewelry I have, right? अब मेरे को पता नहीं है मेरे को और assortment क्या लेकर आनी, right? One person did a survey, asked people कि do you party? How many times you party, right? And do you wear cheap or expensive jewelry, right? Survey के साथ problem ये है कि answer to these questions will come. Do you party? Yes. How many times do you party in a month? 10 times. Do you wear cheap or expensive jewelry? Expensive, right? Because nobody is going to say कि I wear cheap jewelry and I party only once in 6 months, है ना? तो सर्वे के साथ वो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम होती है, एंड हेंस यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी केयरफुल यूजिंग सर्वे एज अ टूल. ठीक है. तो अब या तो लोग करते हैं सर्वे, सर्वे से कुछ इंसाइट निकाल के बनाना चालू कर देते हैं, या फिर वो करते हैं सीधा कि यार मैंने लॉन्च ही कर दिया अब तो, विच इज कॉल्ड MVP यूजुअली, राइट. कि सम शेप और फॉर्म में लॉन्च कर दिया, मतलब टेक एफर्ट डाल दिया उसमें ऑलरेडी, राइट. There is a stage in the middle that I call POC. Why, right? What you will do in a POC is I will put jewelry that I don't have on the platform, right? कि मेरे को मैं sourcing में I'm not worrying about sourcing. I don't worry about anything else, right? In this case, I've just put it out there कि मेरी ये hypothesis है कि 1500 रुपए की लेट से ज्वेलरी रेंटल पे जाएगी, राइट. मैंने डाल दिया एक 1500 रुपए का सेक्शन, राइट. A person clicks, does all the ordering. Later on, because I don't have the jewelry, I can tell him कि यार sorry मेरे पास jewelry नहीं है, right. What happens is you have kind of collected a real customer intent rather than just a survey data, right. Without really building anything or investing a lot of effort in building anything, right. आप and you can like, बहुत से लोगों को ये डर होता है यार फिर कस्टमर पिस ऑफ हो जाएगा, राइट. तो आप सब लोगों को पिस ऑफ नहीं कर रहे हो, राइट. यू आर रनिंग अ एक्सपेरिमेंट. मे बी if you can do, if you have a A/B testing framework of any sort, you can segment your population into 90-10, run it for one day only, right. 10 20 50 कस्टमर का experience, थोड़ा you can always apologize and give them 100 rupee 200 rupee credit or Paytm cash or something, and they'll be happy, right, if you want to redeem them. But it's given you an invaluable feedback कि अगर मैं ये करूंगा तो चलेगा या नहीं चलेगा, right. So that is, and this is one example of a POC, right. I can talk about like a very real life example that we did. And so by the way, right now I work for Propelled. For those of you who don't know me, it's an education lending startup. Right. So one of our hypotheses is people, लोगों को 10,000 रुपए की EMI अगर 10 महीने में देनी है वर्सेस 5,200 की EMI अगर 20 महीने में देनी है, which is a little more money, right. 4,000 रुपए एडिशनल देंगे पर each month EMI is lower. So the second thing may have takers, right. 5,200 into 20 will have takers. Now building that is actually fairly complex piece of work. 2-3 महीने का टेक लग जाएगा इसमें, right. What we did is we called up customers. सर आपकी EMI है 10,000 की, आपकी 5,200 पे अभी कन्वर्ट कर दूं, आप इतने पैसे, मतलब ये हमारी प्रोसेसिंग फी या जो भी लगेगा आप अभी बोलोगे तो कल मतलब नेक्स्ट मंथ से आपकी EMI चेंज हो जाएगी. Now this is not a survey. You are asking customer to actually take a decision on which his cash flows will depend in the future. You are asking him to actually buy a product which you don't have right now, right. That gives you the right level of insight, right. And I talk about numbers, right, कि सेम चीज अगर लोगों को आप बोलोगे कि यार सर्वे में कि यार आपको इस टाइप का चीज चाहिए होगा कि नहीं, मे बी 50% people will say yes, right. I'm just giving ballpark numbers. But when you actually do it, put people to actually make a decision, only 15-16% people make that decision, right. So that is the power of POC. And if you have 6 ideas, you can POC, if you kind of use a little bit of creativity, and you can POC all of them in a very, very short span of time.
Understood. So the main core is ki, don't wait for even a full-fledged product, right? And try to test early validation कि क्या हम जो कर रहे हैं वो सही कर रहे हैं, and क्या कुछ लोग उसको widely accept कर रहे हैं नहीं कर रहे हैं. चलो widely नहीं, but कुछ लोग accept कर रहे हैं नहीं कर रहे हैं, right? Because yeah, you're right कि form भरने वाले portion पे a lot of fill form randomly कि हाँ मैं ये भी करूँगा वो भी कर लूँगा, but when it comes to paid customers, let's suppose, ठीक है, तो आई थिंक तब वो रियलिटी चेक मिलता है कि नहीं, हाउ मेनी आर एक्चुअली विलिंग टू मूव अहेड विद द सर्विस अबाउट, राइट. अंडरस्टूड. Understood. So what you feel like, especially when it comes to product mapping, right? A lot of early stage founders stuck या तो वो pure manual execution कर रहे होते हैं, right? Like us, या फिर वो pure product play कर रहे होते हैं. तो वो बैलेंस मेंटेन करना भी मुझे कभी कभार थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट लगता है कि मतलब कैसे वो बैलेंस मेंटेन किया जाए, क्या वो रिक्वायरमेंट बेस पे किया जाए, या वो फुल फ्लेश विजन बेस पे किया जाए, या वो रिसोर्सेज के बेस पे किया जाए. सो वो मतलब वो कैसे एक्चुअली प्लान आउट करें अपना कि दिस इज द राइट वे टू बिल्ड द प्रोडक्ट बाय नॉट लूजिंग लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स एंड बिल्ड समथिंग नीडेड इन मार्केट.
See, the answer lies in the previous part only. Right? Like lot of founders are confused what to build versus what to keep manual because they are not sure what works and what doesn't work. Right? If out of 10 things I told you, these 2 things definitely work, and these 8 things are kind of like just good to have, redundant, or maybe not even don't even work, right? Right? You know कि ये 2 चीजें तो करनी है, राइट? और इनको मैनुअल चलाने का कोई पॉइंट नहीं है क्योंकि इसी मैनुअल हैज देयर लिमिटेशन, राइट? मैनुअल से आपको फुल बेनिफिट ऑफ अ फीचर नहीं आएगा कभी, राइट? राइट, दैट इज व्हाई ऑल ऑफ अस आर काइंड ऑफ somewhere techies and somewhere product guys, right? Because we believe that seamless integrated experience of any kind is better than a broken manual experience, right? Right, so once you know your most critical features, right, उनको तो automate करना ही करना है. There is no two things about it, right? Coming back to this example that I took just now, right, propelled case में, right, the longer EMI वाला feature, right? I'll run it for a month, right? I will maybe do it manually, right? I'll say कि यार let me see the uptick. But as soon as I'm convinced and I'll have some threshold in my mind कि 10% से ऊपर अगर uptick है, so that kind of becomes a very very important revenue feature for me. Then there is no doubt in my mind कि that becomes like the priority number 1 to be automated after that, right? So that conviction, once you have here, this is the one that is working. Basically, in other words, don't have your critical features run in a manual mode for a long time. Like not acceptable at all.
Understood. So मतलब जो चीजें समझ में आती जा रही है कि हाँ, these are some of the critical areas which maybe internal operations, maybe external stuff, try to automate as soon as possible, right?
Yep.
So मतलब वही है, मतलब based on requirement and based on current resources, 2 things which can give instant results or which can solve the current burning points, so that somewhere or other hand you are building a product in parallel of your business or other stuff. So
Absolutely.
Understood. Understood. So sir, product बन गया, ठीक है, अब बहुत लोगों का प्रोडक्ट बन जाता है, to be honest. बट फिर सबसे पहले आता है कि पेड कस्टमर्स, राइट? तो बहुत लोगों का क्वेश्चन आता है, बहुत लोगों का क्वेश्चन आता है, बहुत फाउंडर्स का कि फर्स्ट पेड कस्टमर्स कैसे बिल्ड लेके आए, फर्स्ट 50, फर्स्ट 100, बिकॉज आई थिंक वो टाइम पीरियड बहुत टफेस्ट होता है, राइट? उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें चेक कर रहे होते हो आपकी, वो प्राइसिंग, मार्केटिंग कैसे करना है, पोजीशन कैसे करना है खुद को इकोसिस्टम. ऐसा ना करें कि हम खुद कुछ काफी बड़े लोगों से compete कर रहे हो, और ऐसा ना कर रहे हो हम कि अपने आप को ऐसे पोजीशन कर दें कि लोगों को वैल्यू समझना है, राइट? तो हाउ मतलब अब बेसिक रस की कैसे बेसिकली फर्स्ट फ्यू पेड कस्टमर्स ऑनबोर्ड किया जाए किसी भी अर्ली स्टेज स्टार्टअप, व्हाट डू यू फील?
See, it's an interesting one, right? I'm assuming we have built a product knowing or doing enough validations along the way of the kind I told you about also, right? And with your friends and family and all of that, where you feel confident that the product has a PMF of sorts, right? PMF ही नहीं है तो we are back to the drawing board, right? Right. So assuming the product has some sort of a PMF, right? You need to I think getting paid customers then shouldn't be that big of an issue, first of all, right? Uh, right. So if, if you're kind of struggling to get paid customers, it's some bit like one line of thinking to think about is here, have I built the right thing,
Correct. Yeah,
right? Right. But let's say, so I'm assuming कि PMF is there, right? So then the next step to me is identifying your target audience, right? किसके लिए बनाया है, किसके लिए, like, and there is a wedge you need to find in your product, right? At the time of constructing that product, right? कि यार इस जनता को तो मेरा प्रोडक्ट चाहिए ही चाहिए, right? Everyone else can also use it, but these guys will love it, right? These guys, I solve a real pain point, right? For, right? You need to identify where you will get those guys, right? The answer is different for different startups, right? Both in terms of what that audience is and where to find them, right? Right. But don't limit yourselves to any one channel or one kind of mode of functioning is what I would say, right? Some cases offline standees in whatever educational institutions, sports grounds, societies work, right? Because that is where a very sharp audience lies for you, right? In some cases, the audience is a little more homogeneous and kind of bigger in nature, right? So then channels like Facebook, etc., work for you. Don't discount the value of organic marketing through identify, like what we have done, at least in kind of all the sort of assignments I've been a part of, is leveraging the online communities, like Telegram groups, Facebook groups, Quora, questions, right, etc., really well, right? And that kind of helps you to reach to your direct audience really fast, right? WhatsApp groups, etc., right? So do that. Um, if you're struggling for the messaging and content, right, my advice is don't over engineer, and kind of यार एक piece बनाऊंगा जो इतना session होगा कि I'll kind of everyone will drop and kind of become my customer that very day, right? That's not going to happen, right? Even the best exponents of creative or creative thinking, actually when you kind of pit them against kind of real life results, are not able to identify कि कौन सा creative, कौन सा messaging चलता है, कौन सा नहीं चलता है, right? Without calling out my past experiences, because that will put some of the people in a position that they won't like. I've had many experiences of when I've kind of shown like the experts कि यार इसमें से कौन सा creative चलाएं, while I've myself done the back testing on all 5 of them, and the one that they say will perform the best performs the worst, and vice versa, right? So let again serendipity here play its role, kind of throw a lot of things into the mix, right? See what works for you. Facebook is a fantastic medium. You can use other creative ways of testing out your message, right? By posting 5 different messages in 5 different WhatsApp groups, for example, and see with 5 different tracking links, and see what works, right? But Facebook provides you that fantastic medium of testing out creatives at very, very, very low cost, right? So use that, right? And kind of keep on sharpening on things that are working. Yeah.
मैं जब आप ये बता रहे थे तो मैं भी पीछे बैक ऑफ द माइंड वो अपनी पिक्चर चला रहा था कि हाउ वी स्टार्टेड व्हेन हम जब ये सब एक्सेलरेशन वाला पार्ट स्टार्ट कर रहे थे पेडल स्टार्ट में कि हाउ वी विल बिल्ड अ पाइपलाइन ऑफ स्टार्टअप्स, गुड पाइपलाइन ऑफ स्टार्टअप्स, राइट? ऐसे ही है, हमने देखा कि मार्केट में ऐसा कोई कम्युनिटी नहीं है, राइट? जहाँ पे हम जाएं, हम एक्सप्लोर करें फाउंडर्स को, हम वहां से पिक कर लें फाउंडर्स को। मल्टीपल स्मॉल ग्रुप्स, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स, टेलीग्राम ग्रुप, लिंक्डइन पे कुछ कुछ ग्रुप में मेंबर्स हैं, बहुत सारे इनएक्टिव हैं, उसमें से कुछ ही एक्टिव हैं, कुछ अपना प्रमोशन कर रहे हैं, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. So even there is a lack of a good founder community platform where only few founders will get an access, but when they're getting access, they are actually good enough to actually materialize a lot of connections internally, because we are seeing founders are actually helping each other a lot. ठीक है, बिजनेस कोलैबोरेशन हो रहा है, बहुत सारे कनेक्ट्स एक दूसरे के साथ शेयर हो रहे हैं, राइट. एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स के लिंक और उनकी उनके उनके नंबर शेयर हो रहे हैं, राइट. एंड उनके इंटरेस्ट शेयर हो रहे हैं कि हाउ यू कैन इवन पोटेंशियली. एंड काफी सारी चीजें एक्चुअली दे आर डूइंग इंटरनली, मतलब हमें पता भी नहीं लगता, बट दे आर रनिंग इट ऑन. वी डू लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशंस, वर्चुअल, ऑफलाइन. एंड देन वो हमें वो कम्युनिटी पावर है, हमें भी वो तब अंडरस्टैंड हुई जब हमने वो जस्ट बिल्ड करना स्टार्ट कर दिया, गो विद द फ्लो एंड डोंट रिजिड ये करना है, ये नहीं करना है, एक्सेट्रा. तो हमने भी हमारा भी वो क्वेश्चन एक एक्सपेरिमेंट की तरह ही था कि लेट्स बिल्ड आवर ओन स्पेस, आवर ओन कम्युनिटी, जहाँ से हम भी पिक करें. एंड देन वी इवन ओपन की यार लेट्स इवन लुक फॉर एग्जिस्टिंग इंक्यूबेशन. सो
Absolutely.
till now we partnered with around 80 plus incubations, जहाँ से we are sourcing a decent funnel of startups. I think yeah you're right कि experiment करने से पता नहीं कौन सा experiment क्या कैसे around होगा, but वो important है कि at least try something out in the market, because हम हमारे बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क था when we were starting कि कैसे decent funnel कैसे build करेंगे.
I remember we used to have that discussion, Manas, way back in the days, right? It's probably been a year now, right? But we used to kind of brainstorm on that as well, right? And again, right, as you said, right, कि यार channels बहुत सारे try करने हैं अपने को, right? We don't have to limit to, because see, sometimes what happens is it's very easy, na? The kind of mindset that you can slip into is which I've seen many, not just startups here, like like bade startups at least, right? Like unicorns, etc. Right? So like really big startups, right? Slip into is मेरे को 50,000 रुपए मार्केटिंग में लगाने हैं, मैं 10,000 इस पे लगाऊंगा, 10,000 इस पे लगाऊंगा, इन पांचों पे 10,000 लगाऊंगा और फिर सो जाऊंगा, जो आएगा आएगा, right? That is a very dangerous mindset to have. Why? Right? Now, let's say one of those channels is working for you, right? But you're not doing the very active tracking of it, right? Uh, uh, the problem is not कि मैं बाकी चार जो नहीं चल रहे हैं उसमें 40,000 बचा लूं. That's also good money saved, but that's not what kind of really matters as much as knowing what is working helps you double down. द गोल इज कि यार जहाँ पे चल रहा है और 10,000 लगा रहा हूँ, वहां पे मैं 1 लाख या 2 लाख या 5 लाख भी लगा सकता हूँ क्या प्रॉफिटेबली, राइट? राइट. सो व्हेन यू नो व्हाट वर्क्स फॉर यू, राइट, दैट गिव्स यू लाइक बेसिकली it is not cost saving, it is a growth mechanism for you, right? Once you know what works, right? So that measurement and trying out different things becomes very very critical because of that.
मेरा मेरा सेकंड क्वेश्चन एक्चुअली इसी से रिलेटेड था कि सजेस्ट लाइक बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप्स अभी अर्ली स्टेज पे हैं, राइट. खास बजट नहीं है मार्केटिंग का, राइट. बट और ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग व्हेन इट कम्स टू मार्केटिंग, एक ही चीज मेजॉरिटी फाउंडर्स के दिमाग में आती है कि फेसबुक पे ऐड चला दो, राइट. वेरी ऑनेस्ट, मतलब मेरे को भी ऐसे ही आता है, राइट. जब हमने सोचा था कि हम मार्केटिंग में क्या करेंगे, तो पहला थॉट ये आया था कि मेटा के ऊपर ऐड चला देंगे, इंस्टाग्राम, फेसबुक और दो चार चैनल और कवर हो जाएंगे. एंड बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम इट लाइक कि और क्या एग्जैक्टली किया जाए, स्पेशली इन अर्ली डेज, कि यार ये चीज तो डे वन पे वी कैन एनी डे डू.
Day one pay, I to believe very strongly in, as I said earlier, right? I probably would be repeating myself again, but you need to kind of find your community play angle, right? You need to find a very strong place where your customers frequent, right? It can be online, it can be offline, right? And those have to be your starting ideas, right? Facebook is great once you want to scale, right? And Facebook, no doubt, is a fantastic channel to get audience even initially, right? But just relying on Facebook is a bit of a lazy hack at best, right? कि ठीक है चलो कुछ नहीं करना तो फेसबुक चला के कुछ तो हो ही जाएगा, right? But that doesn't take brains, yeah, honestly. Like Facebook engines are so good, right? You give them a creative, you give them, you even if you don't give them an audience, you give them an objective, they'll get you audience, right? But that doesn't, एक तो आपको exactly नहीं समझ आता कि क्या चल रहा है, right? In the sense कि which of the people love you, you don't have their persona, right? Where they are, what are they doing, right? Right. So for that, I do recommend very, very strongly that a community play has to be there somewhere. You can actually touch and feel your customers, right? As soon as an interaction happens, right? And as I said, right, be very vigilant in terms of, just even communities, right? Like, so how do you track, right? And I remember having this discussion also, Manas, with you, right? One way is कि यार आपने WhatsApp, Telegram, let's say there's offline standy वगैरह हर जगह सेम लिंक चिपका दिया है, right? Now you'll know कि 50,000 रुपए खर्चे, 300 लीड्स आ गए, 300 ऑर्डर्स आ गए, डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट योर मेट्रिक इज, एंड यू डू सम बैक ऑफ द एनवेलप कि 150 रुपए का एक ऑर्डर आ रहा है, व्हाटएवर, राइट? बट व्हाट आउट ऑफ दीज वर्क इज much more important than overall CAC ठीक आ रहा है कि नहीं, right? I don't like people talking about overall CAC. ठीक है, इन्वेस्टर वगैरह से बात करने के लिए ठीक है, but internally in your company, if you are using just overall CAC as a way of communicating within yourself, beware, like be very kind of cautious about that, right? Don't use that. Use channel by channel, use activity by activity. ये यहाँ पे ये किया था, ये हुआ, right? Because as I said, that is what will help you to double down, right? That is, you understand कि WhatsApp groups work better than anything else. सब कुछ छोड़ो, एनर्जी इस पे लगाते हैं आप, right? Find as many WhatsApp groups as you can, right? Hire 2 more community managers to just this only, right? So measurement becomes very, very critical.
Understood. So I think ये ठीक है, प्रोडक्ट साइड में है, राइट? मार्केटिंग कर ली, पेड कुछ यूजर्स आ रहे हैं या फिर एटलीस्ट यूजर्स आ रहे हैं और कस्टमर्स आ रहे हैं. एक पॉइंट आता है, एंड आई थिंक ये काफी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है फॉर ऑल, एंड मुझे भी थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग लगा, जहाँ पे आता है कि व्हेन टू स्टार्ट रिटेनिंग, right? Or when to start focusing on retaining the customers, especially in early stage startups. And when you see your experience in Snapdeal, right? It start from growth. So I think retention भी for sure एक काफी अच्छा बड़ा parameter होगा, right? Because and it's very hard if you cracked it, like especially in a case of Snapdeal where you guys also cracked it, कि when it comes to competition, which is very high, right? And other platforms are offering the same stuff which we are offering. Then retaining customers, users, or वो customer loyalty build करना, what you feel like, how to even work on it, or when to even work on it?
See, for most businesses, if you don't have retention, you are worthless, right? Right. It's a leaky bucket. You keep on, मतलब फिर तो you are always on a treadmill, right? So as you said, right, retention is probably one of the most important metrics, right? When to track and measure retention? I would say before you start spending copious amount of money in marketing, right? तो पैसा जलाने से, so product बन गया, initial marketing करी, some customer love you get, right? Some customers you get, some customer love you get, right? Till this point, all good, right? Now, this is not the blueprint, right? It's not like कि ओके प्रोडक्ट बनाया, 2 लाख रुपए डेवलपमेंट में लगाया या 5 लाख रुपए डेवलपमेंट में लगाया, उसके बाद 3 लाख रुपए की मार्केटिंग करी, लोग आने चालू हुए, कैक ठीक लग रहा है, अब 3 लाख की जगह 30 लाख मार्केटिंग में लगा दो. नो, राइट? द नेक्स्ट स्टेप इज यू फिगर आउट कि यार आर दीज कस्टमर्स वर्थ एनीथिंग, राइट? एंड राइट, and have I built enough hooks for them to be worth anything, right? या तो मेरा प्रोडक्ट ठीक है पर मेरे कस्टमर फिर भी नहीं स्टिक करते हैं, राइट? या फिर मेरे प्रोडक्ट में ही भी अभी 6-8 गैप्स हैं because of which I haven't built enough hooks, right, for my customers to stick. Either of the cases, work it out before you spend time scaling your product, right? So to say, so that is the time, that is the right time to invest in retention.
Understood. Well, before jumping on a scale, chasing large numbers, right, and large, maybe even product implementation, start look for retention as well, right? So I understood this thing. One last question, sir, and I think we can then end the entire discussion. When you see, so you also invest in startups, right? And when you see, and I really thank you because you are the first one who backed us, right? Who said कि वो करो and मैं बैठा हूँ देखेंगे करेंगे कुछ ना कुछ कर लेंगे and honestly speaking वो चीज हमें काफी confidence दिया था मेरे को और आदित्य को कि at least we have a early backer, right? So when you see any startup, right, what broader 5-4 things you see before committing anything, even committing like advising? So
uh, so see a few things, right? I mean, goes without saying, like the quality of founders and like बहुत से लोगों को quality is equal to pedigree लगता है, right? Over time, like as I have aged, I've realized pedigree plays a very small role, right? Right. To me, I think even if, while evaluating, qualities that stand out is uh, that hunger or that hustling nature, right? And B is ability to take risks, right? कि ये लोग, will they die wondering or will they die trying, right? Right, मतलब प्लानिंग में ही मर जाएंगे या मतलब ठीक है ट्राई करेंगे फिर उसके बाद जो होता है देखा जाएगा, राइट? सो दैट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट quality for me as such, right? Then see there is a bit of gut feel that goes into idea evaluation, right? Here, are they solving a real pain point, right? And how big is that pain point, right? Really, if I'm not myself, there may be places where I'm myself not a customer, right? But then I'll try to still understand कि यार ये actually pain point है कि नहीं है by talking to some people, etc. Right? Everyone will tell you about size of market to TAM, SAM, SOM to some. I think like I'm sure everyone in this call kind of knows about those things, right? Right. The final thing is this depends on the stage of the startup, but I care a lot about the kind of things I talked about, right? Which uh, uh, are the basics in place, right? Like in the sense ki, is the mental makeup one to burn money, right? And acquire customers, right? Or is it one of frugality and one of kind of thinking about what I would, everyone knows, what we call as the right unit economics, राइट? अगर स्टार्टअप ने थोड़ा स्केल पकड़ लिया तो यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स आप कैसे देखते हो, क्या कंपोनेंट्स उसमें डालते हो? इज इट अ आई वॉश यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स और इज इट अ फुल्ली लोडेड ऑप्स कॉस्ट अगर कुछ जाती है, मार्केटिंग कॉस्ट कुछ जाती है, उसके बाद आप यूनिट की बात कर रहे हो, दैट बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर मी, राइट? यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स नेगेटिव, and if you ask the question ki yaar, do you intend for it to kind of get profitable like at a unit level, and if the answer is an eyewash that you get, that's a no.
Understood. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for taking time today and addressing couple of good questions. I hope it's good for you as well. But any last suggestion which you would love to share with all the founders who are here on this platform? Any last suggestion, or you can say heads up or anything from your side?
Yeah, I've been always a person that has believed in uh, the power of uh, kind of data, and measuring anything can make all the impact, right? Between are you kind of, do you end up building a crap feature that nobody wants and end up spending a lot of time, or optimize your energy and build something that everyone loves, right? So that that DNA on how to, whenever you are thinking of doing something, uh, think of how you would want to measure the impact, right? Right, and that will create a sea of difference in your thought process, in your, that sharpness of what you would end up building will come out, right? And I've been a big fan of it. I've seen it work at innumerable places now, right? For me to be a very, very strong believer and not just kind of, yeah, mera fad hai, but I don't know if it works or not. It's not that. Right? So that is what I would ask everyone, encourage everyone to do. And yes, I mean, in general, if you need, I would kind of make it an open offer via Manas. If I can be of help to anyone who is still on the call, right, I'm happy to do so. And best of luck. All of you are wonderful, amazing. You're taking risks that I have never taken in my life. So huge, huge, huge amount of respect for everyone on this forum. And yeah, uh, take a leg.
थैंक यू सो मच सर. नेक्स्ट टाइम डेफिनेटली एक ऐसा सेशन करेंगे जहाँ पे ओपन कैंडिड डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं ओवर ओवर प्रॉब्ली सम ड्रिंक्स. तो मतलब मुझे वो वैसा वाला करना है टाइप, आप समझ रहे हो, मतलब एक अलग लेवल टाइप जैसा मैं देखता हूँ कि ऐसा ऐसा ऐसे ऐसे डिस्कशन भी होते हैं. एंड
नहीं नहीं, एब्सोल्युटली मजा आएगा उसमें, है ना.
डेफिनेटली एंड एक डिस्कशन करेंगे अपन कम्युनिटी फाउंडर्स के साथ, बिकॉज कम्युनिटी फाउंडर्स आर लाइक eagerly waiting for you, some of the portfolio startups also. So I'll share a couple of details with you.
I would love, यार. Those are like when there's a fire and crossfire, right? और टफ क्वेश्चंस जब होते रहते हैं ना, अभी तो एक बार ज्ञान दे दिया, राइट, पर किसी ने वापस तो पलट के नहीं पूछा कुछ, तो इट्स बिकम्स वेरी इजी फॉर मी आल्सो, राइट. बट आई वांट टू बी इन दैट position where I'm challenged a little bit more.
वो डेफिनेटली करेंगे, कम्युनिटी स्टार्टर्स के साथ अपन एक प्लान करेंगे एंड देन विल डेफिनेटली शेयर विद यू एज वेल.
Say, awesome.
Thank you so much for joining
It's
today.
been a pleasure, Manas. It's such a coveted forum. I know people who have come before me on this forum, some really big names. So thank you for having me here. And thank you everyone for listening to both me and Manas very patiently.
We all love you, sir. Thank you for joining, sir. Thanks.
Okay. Chalo, guys.
So, guys, we have a couple of new stuff for you as well. So we'll be probably sharing it with you in via some polls. So you can fill up your responses and then we are good to go. We'll share a couple of more information regarding upcoming sessions. So we are coming up with another open house discussion with the founder of, I think majority of you know, founder of Chai Sutta Bar, Abhinav Dubey. He's a very nowadays very well-known face, right? A very young guy who built his company from scratch, and I think Indore se start kiya the journey, and then now he's owning a company of more than 100 CR, if I'm not wrong. So we will be having this discussion on 4th March. So we will be sharing you all the details over on your registered email address as well as on your WhatsApp number, registered WhatsApp number. Feel free to join the discussion. We're also planning some discussion around upcoming founders meet, which we are planning to do with some selected founders. So if in case you guys are any day interested, feel free to reach us out. We're more than happy to look at you and your what exactly you're building and how you are building it. and we would love to address you in that particular meet. So वो founder meet में अपन क्या करेंगे? It's a free event, free meet, online meet as we are conducting today. But we'll give you access to only 30 founders, selected 30 founders. And in that particular meet, you can potentially interact with your, you can say, future potential co-founder, co-team member, or a business collaboration, right? And you can directly chit chat with them, and you can even have your contact details share with them. Rest, we also shared one poll regarding if you guys are interested to join our community, PedalStart community. We would love to proceed ahead with your application. You guys can just visit pedalstart.com, our website, and join the wish list via application form. Our team will get in touch with you, but you have to do one thing. You have to mention in the source other and add about this open house discussion with Mayank. We are opening up somewhere around 70 odd, you can say, more membership in the month of March itself. जिसके लिए हम screening कल से ही start कर रहे हैं. So if in case you guys are out of 70, 30 are already closed. So we have left only with 40 odd founders, which we will be onboarding in a community, selected founders in the month of March itself. So if you guys are interested, you guys can join, you guys can apply the wish list in the wish list segment. Then our team will be screening your application full-fledged, and then they will be prioritizing you and they'll get in touch with you over a one-on-one call as well. To understand your idea in more and much, you can say, detailed manner. In that particular community, if you get a chance to be a part of our community, you will be getting an access of our accelerator for sure within the journey of 3 to 6 months in the community itself. Also, you'll get a lot of discussions, closed group discussions, where we invite mentors like Mayank and a couple of others, successful startup founders, in a form of group discussion only, but where it's a two-way discussion, interaction. So where we only invite 30 or 20 to 30 founders and a mentor. You guys can interact with the mentor, you guys can share your thoughts, and even gain a lot of understanding and knowledge directly. It's all about around how you can gain the understanding from their experiences. That's why we are conducting all these discussions in the community. Apart from it, we are also conducting this one-on-one discussions with some ex-founders to understand and help you in some of the areas where you are hurling right now, and probably getting a best solution out of it. Based on those one-on-one interactions only, we will be also giving an access of our accelerator, where you'll get a chance to be a part where you can also raise funds from our own platform. So we recently launched our 2.5 CR fund, which we are planning to deploy in the next 6 to 8 months. So some commitments are there. We are now aggressively looking out for new startups. So apply through website today itself. Would love to see what exciting idea you have, what kind of exciting idea you have, and what you have done so far now. We're more than happy to even look at you if you are at an ideation stage, if you are at an early revenue stage, or if you have a late stage, but not owning a much understanding how to even move ahead from here. We are more than happy to give you an access of the community first, work on it, build your idea ahead. And then we are more than happy to accelerate you as well. So yeah, guys, thanks a lot to join us today. More than happy to look at you again on 4th of March, when we will be discussing a lot of experiences of Abhinav. Anubhav Dubey, the founder of Chai Sutta Bar. Thanks all for joining us today. We have also shared you a form link. If in case you guys are interested for the virtual founder meet, do sign up with this form. We will screen your application, and selected founders will get a chance to be a part of that free founders meet as well, which we are planning to conduct within a week. So yeah, guys, fill the applications very seriously, and happy to see you in the community. Thanks for joining us today.